Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Alhamdulillah, with the grace and the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we can continue our da'wah to provide free life coach training program throughout the world. Inshallah, over the next 10 years, we're going to train 12,000 of you all over the world online training, which you can learn about motivation, coaching, mentoring, counseling, and certify yourself as life coach to be active in transforming the ummah, working with the mosques, NGO, even your professional development in terms of having a better understanding of the nature and the meaning of life. And that will then bring about a greater capability for us to transform ourselves, our family, the ummah especially, which we are in a doldrum now, the global society, and inshallah over time bring about this beautiful deen as a deen of understanding, the deen of mercy and love for all humanity. So what is important is that Islam is the heart of love, and this has been explained in very great detail by our great scholars, our sages, our saints, all those who have understood the depth and the meaning of the primordial meaning of existence itself. Alright, so the nature of existence and so on, which we will then elaborate as much as we can as we study, because we know that this atheistic materialistic lifestyle and civilization is already bringing human being to the brink of extinction. Whether we survive the next 100 years, definitely we will not survive if we continue with the atheistic materialistic lifestyle and civilization as we know today. We will be gone. But if by the grace and the mercy and the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala we go through for the next 100 years and we manage to overcome the calamities that we may have to face. Remember, I explained to you earlier on about this extinction and why in the Quran Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks about the corruption, the pollution, the imbalance, the injustice that we have inflicted on this good earth, its waters, its seas, its air, and all the eco balance and the creatures on this earth. Allah has tells us that this we have done with our own hands and will have a taste of the suffering. So I pray and hope that Allah give us time and give us His grace and mercy under the suffering that we have to go through, which now a lot of human beings are going through. For example, there is no water in India, there is heat waves all over in the sub-Sahara, there is no food, scarcity of food, and things are getting worse by the day. So we pray that Allah shower His mercy and forgiveness so that this lesson should not be a lesson of catastrophic proportion. So that is our hope. So how are we going to then relate to this understanding? Because basically when we talk about religion and the primordial aspect of existence, we know that Islam is the deen that was revealed to our Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but it is not new. We know from the perspective of our existence that our existence and the existence of this universe and all its creatures is based on the commandment of Allah. When Allah wills any existence to be into existence, in the Quran Allah tells us, innama amruhu iza arada an shay'an an yakula lahu kun fayakun. Whenever Allah wills to manifest anything to be in its being and existence, Allah only signal be, kun, and it is. So the process will take 1 billion years, 13.7 billion years for example this universe that we know today that we are living within, that has from the point of Big Bang to today. Alright, but whatever it is, that is from the perspective of time space that we understand. Okay, that means time and space, existence, consciousness all came about from the absolute realm when Allah wills that into being, from the Islamic metaphysical aspect. So how are we going to understand this? Because from the primordial religions and Islam is a continuation of all earlier religions. So we do not deny the truth, the beauty, the depth of other religion. That means the earlier religion, whether it is Christianity, whether it is Hinduism, whether it's Buddhism, whether it is Zoroastrianism, whether it's Taoism, whatever ism that we have, that ism has some intrinsic truth within which we Muslims can acknowledge and can understand. That's why there is a lot of beauty in all religion. So we must be able to embrace all people who believe in God, because they have at least a basic idea that their existence on this earth is with a purpose and meaning. They have a understanding of the nature of consciousness, the nature of free will, the nature of how to lead a good life. All that is the values within the religious spheres of all religion is almost, I would say, is similar, very, very similar. The only difference is maybe in the understanding of the perception of who is God and the nature of the divine, and what is the purpose of our existence, insofar as whether the emphasis is more on towards suffering, or the emphasis is more towards being, for example, in Islam, being the vicegerent or the Khalifa on this earth, and basic myth that has been infiltrated into the earlier religion. But within that framework, we can generalize, even within Islam and other religion. If we take away the myth or some of the stories that are quite, in some religion, which may not be rational, then we can see that they have a lot of common ground in which we can all live together in the 21st century, especially and beyond. So we cannot be parochial, we cannot be inward looking, we cannot be the takfiris who make everybody kafir, including Muslims who don't practice their style of so-called Islam. Those are the narrow-minded people who are destructive. So we Muslims must understand that faith within the 5 principles of Islam, and then the good deeds. So we have Iman, Islam, Ihsan, and we have these 2 things as a basis. So you have Iman, then we have the principles of the 5 principles of Islam, and then we have this Amal Saleh. So if you look at all religious value system, they are more or less the same, but only maybe from the perspective of Islam, Islam is very, very direct in our communication with the Creator. That means our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is direct. We don't go through idols, we don't go through a saint or something like that, or a statue or whatever. We have a direct access, because our nature, being the reflection of the image of God, we have direct access to God. We have direct access to God, because when in the Quran we were told, Allah tells us, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, wa iza sa'alaka ibadi anni fa inni qarib ujibu da'watid da'i iza da'ani falyastajibu li wal yu'minu bi la'allahum yarshudun. So in the Quran, Allah tells us, when my servant questioned you about me, tell them that I'm near, I'm close to you, I'm close to you. So Allah tells us, I'm close to you. Let them, you then seek help from me or plead for me and believe in me, and then you will be rightly guided. So I answer your prayer. So Allah tells us, I answer your prayer. So this is within the framework in which Islam tells us of our relationship with Allah is closeness with Allah. So we do not have a gap. So we can always have an open and direct communication, consciously, subconsciously, at 4 levels: spiritual, emotional, mental, and physical, acting together, seeking the nur, the light, because Allah tells us in another verse of the Quran, Allah tells us, Allahu nurus samawati wal ard. Allah is the uncreated light of the heavens and the earth. So He is this light that when He manifested His nur upon all of us, we receive the grace, we receive the beauty, we receive the joy, we receive, most important, His love. And out of that come from our transcendent love of Allah, or the transcendent love of Allah, and in return we receive the love of Allah in a way that gives us the joy, the peace, the tranquility, the happiness, the fulfillment, the achievement, the success, the full meaning of life, which is so beautiful. So you can imagine what is this beauty about Islam that we have through our areas in which we can understand that this atheistic materialistic civilization and way of life does not bring happiness, does not bring peace, does not bring fulfillment. The exact opposite is it brings anxiety, depression, anger, anguish, frustration, suicidal tendencies, and all the psychological problems, the psychosomatic problems that we see today in humanity is because of the disconnect between us and the divine love that He showers through us. So what is important is we must then move upward. So this is where I'm going to explain a little bit detail how we can progress in human civilization and how we should not regress and destroy ourselves within the next 100 years. And our duty as a Muslim is to express this fullness of this joy of the journey together as human beings, acknowledging the Creator and living within His embrace of divine grace, forgiveness, mercy, compassion and love. And knowing that inshallah we will bring the beauty of Islam, and when we reflect the beauty of Islam, this reflection of this truth, this light can spread throughout the world, and people who are maybe at the second level, spiritual but no religion, all religion are the same, pluralism, they may then begin to see this beauty, one little step towards Islam. And we can help these people, because these are the people who has transcended. Yes, they are not atheistic, materialistic, they are spiritual. Yes, I'm spiritual. But because of the very bad image they see of Islam, they could not see Islam as a via media, as an alternative for them. But we will help them by showing this beauty of this deen and how our relationship with other religion and other human beings and all living creatures and this beautiful good earth, to make it a wonderful heaven in which Allah blessed us with the fullness of Iman, Islam and Ihsan, and the fullness of our servitude to Him, and the fullness of our Khalifahood to Him, that is always striving to make ourselves good, helping others to be good, and making the world good, inshallah.